Good morning, everyone. I'm Jan De Silva, President and CEO of the Toronto Region Board of Trade. Welcome to Transportation Summit 2022. This is the board's 7th annual Transportation Summit, and there's a reason. It's one of our longest running conferences. Our members, businesses, and other partners come to us each year to say how much they enjoy the discussions and opportunity to advance solutions on a topic that permeates every aspect of our lives, from how we get around to what we can buy and how it gets to us. As you all know, we hope this summit would be our first in-person event in nearly 2 years. But once again, the pandemic had other plans. However, the value of this event, the ideas, insights, profiling of issues can proceed virtually, and we will. So we press on because the transportation priorities we'll discuss today takes years and sometimes decades to activate. We have no time to waste on our mission to build up this region, our home for success. On that, the Toronto region is also home to many diverse Indigenous peoples. As our region continues to expand and grow, we must remember to do so in partnership with the original stewards of this land. Speaking of partners, there's no way we could deliver this Transportation Summit without our presenting sponsor, SNC-Lavalin. They've been our lead sponsor on this event since its very first iteration nearly a decade ago. That's a scary thought because I was only 10 months on the job when we did our very first Transportation Summit. And it's been an absolutely fantastic journey. They share our desire to see smart, evidence-based decisions get made about what gets built in our region. In fact, I'm very excited to say that just last week, SNC became one of the board's principal sponsors, joining the Globe and Mail, Scotiabank, and the University of Toronto in empowering us to create more avenues like this for debate and discussion across a wide range of issues and topics. SNC, we're so glad to have you in our corner. Also supporting the Transportation Summit this year are AECON, Alstom, Quebec, CN, and Newport Aviation. Each of them contributes greatly to different dimensions of the transportation sector, and we thank them for coming to the table. If you've attended our other summits, you'll recognize Socio, the platform you're watching live right now. To the left of your screen, you'll see a list of options. During breaks and after the last session, I strongly encourage you to use video networking to connect with other attendings. Selecting that feature will put you in a virtual room where you'll be able to move around with your mouse and join or start live video conversations with others. There are even topic areas if you want to connect with someone on a particular issue. We're hoping this allows for some of the casual face-to-face networking that was so unique to board events pre-pandemic. And if you're all zoomed out, you can still message other participants privately through the attendee feature. As for the other features, allow me to briefly run through them. Agenda is where you find today's full list of panels, keynotes, and speakers. The discussion wall is a great place to share your thoughts on something you've heard or spark an exchange with other attendees. Our partners lets you learn more about the general collaborators I listed. The app guide should answer any question about using today's platform. And if you prefer to speak with someone for help, just email contact@bot.com. For submitting questions during panels, you can do so in the QA feature to the right of your screen. And when we ask you, you can participate by voting in the polling feature also to the right. With that, we officially kick off the summit. Those who followed the board's advocacy on the transportation file know that we've been particularly bold on our work this past year, putting forward reports and recommendations and virtual events on transit, electric vehicles, airports, and the like. That may seem odd during a pandemic when restrictions and remote work mean that transit ridership, commuting, and travel have changed. But we continue to focus on transportation because of the pandemic, not in spite of it. For instance, the disruption of the workday commute has deprioritized serving rush hours with transit, but has instead reminded us of how important anywhere, anytime transit trips are. Likewise, the sharp and still climbing increase in e-commerce puts a spotlight on already congested roads around goods production and distribution districts like those around Pearson Airport. And the laws of business and recreational travel reminded us just how crucial the visitor economy is to an urban region like ours, and how two major airports enable that economic advantage. So while COVID restrictions persist, we're future focused in our transportation agenda, considering the investments needed today to create a globally competitive network for tomorrow. A network with efficient and universal public transit, with a reputation for building things quickly and affordably, and with a world-class aviation sector. We at the board are championing that network because it's an important and enormous competitive advantage. It allows us to continue the densification of our region, adding more people but fewer cars, and saves us from the high costs of congestion and inefficient supply chains. Getting this right will also set us apart from other global city regions. These considerations are also on the minds of our government leaders, including the province of Ontario. And it's great to see the provincial government prioritize transit and other transportation projects in their mandate. This morning, we're very fortunate to have joining us the person involved in all of those cabinet conversations, Ontario's Minister of Infrastructure, the Honourable Kinga Surma, representing our hometown, Etobicoke Centre, in the legislature. Minister Surma also previously served as the Associate Minister of Transportation for the GTA. She's the perfect person to articulate today this government's priorities for getting things built in our region, and we're so glad we can start our summit with her. Welcome, Minister. Thank you for being here. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone, and thank you, Jan, for that very warm introduction. I am excited to be here virtually with you all today. I'll be using our time together to discuss the many critical transportation infrastructure projects our government is supporting across the province. In fact, this feels like so long ago, but I was supposed to attend an in-person TR-BOT event with my colleagues, Minister Clark and Minister Sakaria, to present the TOC program to the public. That very same day, an emergency order was issued by the province. Schools were closed because of COVID, and so we never got the chance to make our presentation. So I'm especially happy to be here with you today. I'll be using our time together to discuss the many critical infrastructure projects our government is supporting across the province. I will also talk about our government's plan to build Ontario's future and how we're getting shovels in the ground for highways, hospitals, housing, and high-speed internet. Our investments in critical infrastructure will help improve healthcare capacity, build more long-term care homes, schools, and other facilities that families depend on. Our government will continue to build an efficient highway network that we can continue to get critical goods like vaccines, PPE, and food on store shelves. I know many of you are very familiar with the province's transit plans. We've spoken about our subway plan and the progress we are making very frequently. We are investing a historic $28.5 billion towards our transit expansion plan, which includes 4 priority subway projects. The new Ontario line, which will help alleviate increased congestion on the TTC Line 1. It will extend 15.6 kilometers between Exhibition, Ontario Place, and the Ontario Science Centre, and provide fast, frequent, and reliable service. It will also include new connections to GO Transit, existing TTC subway stations and streetcar lines, and the Eglinton Crosstown Light Rail Transit Line. The Yonge North subway extension will connect Line 1 to major employment centers in York Region, such as Markham, Vaughan, and Richmond Hill, and give Richmond Hill and Markham an opportunity to build new urban centers. The Scarborough subway extension that will finally provide residents with the transit they need after being neglected for far too long. And the Eglinton Crosstown West extension, which will see the Eglinton Crosstown LRT stretch approximately 9.2 kilometers from Mount Dennis to Renforth Drive. Ultimately, through future phases, the province is committed to having the line run all the way to Toronto Pearson International Airport, which is part of Canada's second largest employment zone after downtown Toronto. A huge benefit of our subway transit plan is that it will unlock employment opportunities for thousands of people and connect residents to employment hubs in the GTA, which I know TRBOT has advocated for many years. In 2020, we introduced the Building Transit Faster Act to streamline construction so that we can build public transit quickly and efficiently. I'm thrilled to say that ground has been broken on the Scarborough Subway and Eglinton Crosstown West extensions. Launch shafts are prepared, and today teams are assembling the tunnel boring machines, which will be used to tunnel our transit lines. In a number of months, they will be drilling. We got here, and I am very grateful to TRBOT for always publicly supporting transit expansion in the GTA. To further help expedite the building of critical infrastructure, our government also introduced and passed the Ontario Rebuilding and Recovery Act. This legislation gives the tools needed to expedite the planning, design, and construction processes of other provincial transit projects, including GO Rail expansion and light rail transit projects. We can all agree that significant progress has been made in turning Premier Ford's transit vision into a reality, but the work must continue. Our government is steadfast in its commitment to building and improving transit so that people can get to where they need to be and to reduce gridlock, encourage economic renewal and growth, and help protect the environment. While I am passionate about all of these projects, our government's transit-oriented communities program is one that I am particularly eager to talk to you about. TOCs are a smart, forward-thinking approach to rethinking the relationship between transit, employment, housing, commercial spaces, public amenities to create vibrant, sustainable, and complete communities. People want the convenience in their day-to-day lives by bringing all of these things within a 10-minute walk to transit. We are delivering just that. It's clear that we can no longer afford to build transit stations in isolation, and with our historic transit expansion, we cannot waste this opportunity. We must build faster, better, and smarter. As all of you know, transit expansion can be expensive, but for certain TOC sites, there are ways to use partnerships to get it done for less. We can leverage third-party investments to create housing, community, and commercial spaces to offset the cost of building stations, reducing the burden on the taxpayer. Now, let me take a moment to update you on our current TOC proposals. On the Ontario Line South, we have announced TOC plans at 5 stations. The TOC at East Harbour will be an integrated transit and transit-centric site that will include a diverse range of commercial and residential space, retail, food, cultural uses, and public amenities, and will become the gateway to the Portlands. The East Harbour site will be a multimodal transit hub, incorporating GO Train, future Smart Track services, TTC light rail transit, and the future Ontario Line subway. At Corktown Station, the TOC site will provide a mix of new housing opportunities, public library, public realm space, while commemorating the history of the adjacent First Parliament site. Rounding out the final 3 TOCs along the Ontario Line will be at Exhibition, King and Bathurst, and Queen and Spadina stations, all of which will be complete communities featuring new housing, office, and commercial space. On the Yonge North subway extension, we have proposed plans for 2 TOCs. A TOC at the future Bridge Station, south of Highway 407 between Yonge Street and Bayview Avenue, is a proposed full mixed-use site with housing, parks, community, and employment infrastructure. And a TOC at High Tech Station, east of Yonge Street and north of Highway 7, would bring together several connections to local transit, including Viva and GO, as well as a range of housing choices in a new walkable community with parks and green space. These new TOCs demonstrate our government's smart, forward-thinking approach to building as we create new, complete communities that make sense for the people who want to work, live, and play near transit. These TOCs will help address many critical issues facing families today. They will provide affordable transit options, build more housing to address the soaring housing prices, and provide much needed local services and amenities aimed at improving residents' quality of life. Some TOC proposals are bold, but we have to be bold to address the challenges faced by Ontarians. Furthermore, as part of our innovative transit plans, TOCs are being considered at select GO Rail LRT stations. My ministry is working closely with the Ministry of Transportation and Metrolinx on where TOCs may be best suited on the GO Rail line, what they may look like, and how they could best serve residents and transit users. I look forward to sharing updates on our progress as various proposals in both the planning and approval stages move forward. Throughout the TOC planning process, Infrastructure Ontario has been consulting with stakeholders and the public to ensure their feedback is heard and that their needs are understood and considered. These include talking to residents, community groups, committees, through virtual open house events, online engagement, and consultation with municipal partners. This helps us inform our planning processes and drives our decision-making in alignment with municipal guidelines and best urban planning practices. In addition, we continue to work hard to come to mutually beneficial agreements with the municipalities where future stations and TOCs are to be built. I want to stress that while time is of the essence when it comes to building and improving our transit infrastructure and networks, development of TOCs will not come at the expense of fairness, openness, or transparency. We want the people of Ontario to share in the many community benefits that TOCs will bring to their neighborhoods while participating freely in the planning process. In addition to the TOC program, my ministry is working hard on other infrastructure programs and plans that are helping to get more shovels in the ground faster than ever before. I know the last 2 years have been filled with challenges as we continue to fight against COVID-19. The pandemic has had a devastating impact on our communities across the province, upending our lives, hurting local economies, and testing our healthcare system like never before. Despite these challenges, construction has continued on crucial infrastructure to meet the needs of the people in our communities, ensure their health and safety, and support families and businesses. And we will keep building. Planned infrastructure investments over the next decade total more than $148 billion. This week, we showed Ontarians how efficient we can be. We built a long-term care home in Ajax Pickering, which will serve 320 residents in 13 months. Some people have said that we will never build subways in Toronto. Others have said it's impossible to build long-term care homes under such timelines. I say anything is possible when we all work towards the same goal. Together, we will build a brighter, stronger, and more resilient Ontario. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Minister Surma, for your remarks and for joining today's summit. It's clear that this government has prioritized transportation in its infrastructure planning, and we look forward to seeing everything that you've described come to life. It is a bold vision, and we also look forward to future announcements coming from your office. Thank you once again.